Hello and welcome back to Kaiserreich. So, a comment pointed out something that I might want to do, and that is clean up some of this border gore, which I have the power to do because I have this handy tool here. And in terms of cleaning up the border gore, they suggested, and I find myself kind of agreeing, that we should probably just give Labrador to Quebec. Just so, like, I know this might not make a lot of sense in terms of the actual demographics of Canada and stuff. It might, in fact, be very stupid to do this, but I just hate looking at this. So I'm going to do that first. And then I'm going to take these provinces here and decide that we should hold on to them for the war. Because these provinces have ports that are far out here towards Europe, so we can actually build up the naval bases here and set up like main forward bases for our operations in Europe. I'm actually gonna turn this. I'll keep this volume on, but I'm gonna swap for a different song. We've heard a lot of these several times. Oh, here we go. Here's one we haven't heard many times. Alright, let's see. So, we're prepping the invasion of Cuba. We do have radar coverage, so we should be able to see whether or not there are people over here, which we don't see anyone, which might just indicate that they're all over here in the in Central America trying to invade, which works very much in our favor. Also, there was a comment about, like, me getting a bunch of units killed in, or a bunch of people killed in the California desert. Like, a comment on my last CSA video. Which I'm like, how did I do that? I'm not at war with Canada. And California deserts, if there are any. I don't even know if there are, like, fully deserts in California, but still. Like, how did I get anyone killed here? They might have been talking about me stacking units on top of each other, which, can cause attrition. If it did cause attrition, it only affects equipment, not actually manpower. You don't lose manpower to attrition. Which, I think is a good change for the game, or like a good mechanic for the game. But isn't necessarily realistic if you're at war and you have attrition in, well, attrition in like places like Siberia and stuff. People are going to die. Also, this song is banging. So this Great Lakes Army, probably don't need it over there actually, we'll probably send it... So it's a fairly light army, it's only 16 divisions, it's going to grow though once we get more divisions, and I'm thinking of sending... Oh no. The Kingdom of Hawaii. What would we ever do? I'm thinking of sending them to Newfoundland and having them prep for an invasion of something like Iceland, I think. Is Denmark? Denmark is our enemy. Actually, let's take care of Denmark first, because that actually provides naval bases and stuff. See, are we making any more Marines? We are. Very good. White Knights, okay. Oh shit, that's Canadian. Probably should have occupied Saint Pierre, but since we occupy Newfoundland, it's probably fine. We could probably have just taken Saint Pierre. Oh, god damn it! They keep giving this back. Well, I guess we'll have to occupy that as well then, Labrador. It's oh, it's probably because they hold something else. No, it isn't. I don't know. That doesn't make much sense. So well, we can't do much about that then. Yeah, we probably should have given back Newfoundland and just held Saint Pierre, but the size here then at least lets us stack more troops here, I think. Okay, let's send the Gulf Army down south in order to help out the Mexicans. And they're shipping troops into Havana again. Not great. Do we have the troops we're meant to send over to Cuba? That was probably the Great Lakes. No, that was probably the Gulf Army, of course. Yeah. Can we send someone else instead? Possibly the Continental Army, though we could also send tanks instead. Light tank division still needs some work. Can't believe we barely got any military experience from that entire war there. Let's send some. Let's send a delegation, if we can. Oh, we can't send an attaché because we don't have enough political power. I want to send a military attaché to a nation that's in, like that's fighting a lot of battles, because doing so will give us a lot of military experience. Advanced fast battleship hull. Very nice. We should probably get the advanced dreadnought hull as well. Wait, are these not the same thing? We'll get the... wait, hold on. Armored cruiser. Do we have another shipbuilding thing? We do not. Cruiser and armored cruiser, or destroyer and submarine. Oh well. Because this doesn't count as a cruiser or an armored cruiser, so... These are armored cruisers, and these are cruisers. I've barely actually used armored cruisers like Panzerschiffs, also known as pocket battleships in real life. They're called Panzerschiffs here because that's the German word for it. And the Germans, of course, won the war. Right, workers' cooperatives. Get some of that, those dockyards and factories and all that. Thought I had done more on this this frontier. I guess not. I was so preoccupied with all this stuff. We don't need this one yet, but we will need it soon. Once the Marines start hitting the... oh yeah, once that batch is trained, we actually will need it. Oh, Norwegian song. Sønner av Norge. Oh no, it's We Shall Rebuild Norway, of course. Vi skal gjenreise Norge. So we sank a cruiser, the Cuba. Wait. Why is the West Indies Confederation on our side? Oh, they joined the Third International for some reason after the after the collapse of the Entente. That is very interesting. They've got the Hindenburg and they've got a destroyer. Georg, the Graf Spee. Or Speer. Wait, what did we lose? We lost, we actually lost quite a lot of ships there. The German Navy is actually quite scary. Let's get a bunch of these guys out in the ocean here to help out. And let's see, that's an escort squadron. They're all repairing. Yeah, they're repairing because we don't have any dockyards that are set to repair. Apparently they're not repairing, even though I've freed some up. Wait, you need to manually set them to repair or what? I've never had to do that before. Hold on, I'm gonna read this in a moment. You don't have enough dockyards allocated for repairs to use the full capacity of the naval base. Well, excuse me. I've never had to do that before. Edit repair lines. Okay, let's see. So let's make sure we've got at least, because we're fighting a war, so let's make sure we've got 10 dockyards set to repair at least. So, let's see. Stone Mountain, Georgia. Within the deep south at Stone Mountain lies a massive bas-relief carving of 3 Confederate figures. Jefferson Davis, I know where this is going, Robert E. Lee and Stonewall Jackson. The site was also the rebirth of the Ku Klux Klan. Many wish to remove such a blight, especially as other monuments to the Confederacy are torn down. However, people are divided as to what to do about the relief. Some believe that it should be destroyed. James Ford, in a cynical turn, wishes to chisel down the Confederates and replace them with John Brown, George Padmore, Diego Rivera, the artist behind the renovation of Rockefeller Plaza, suggests a cheap and honorable compromise. The relief is to be re-chiseled down to replace the Confederates with the leaders of socialist revolution, including Karl Marx, Vladimir Lenin, and John Reed. Heroes of Emancipation, they'll show the history of socialism, or we will destroy the relief carving. I think that it's more important that we, in that place, show Heroes of Emancipation, I think, in place of the Confederate figures, rather than, you know, the socialist stuff. That feels kind of like tone deaf to put these people who fought for, like, except for John Reed possibly, but like for the most part fought for white people, I guess. Like, even though like not necessarily meaning to do so, but you know, they largely like interacted with very, very white societies and stuff, and communities, and were basically championing their cause. For example, Karl Marx, of course, was talking about socialism appearing in Europe and whatnot. and then would later go on to other places. I think it's more important to show someone who specifically fought against the Confederate, or the institutions of the Confederacy, and fought for the people who were harmed by said institutions, who fought specifically for those people. I think that's far more important. So I'm going to say the relief shall show the heroes of emancipation. Both would probably be fine, but I think it would be more impactful to show the heroes of the emancipation. We're losing some old destroyers. That's fine because we're probably producing more than we're losing, and now they have a lone battleship out here. New Zealand votes for independence. After a recent divisive referendum, the Australasian state of New Zealand today voted for independence from the larger confederation. New Zealanders have long resented their annexation by the mainland following the British invocation of the Conservation of Resources Act in 1924, and that resentment boiled over into a campaign for independence following the imposition of conscription by the mainland. So now we've got Australia and New Zealand. The Australasian Confederation is no more. Yet they do still hold a bunch of lands here in the Pacific that aren't mainland Australia. Okay, we got the new Marines. So this is going to be the 1st Marine Corps. And this will be the 2nd Marine Corps, and this one will be set up to invade, let's see. It sucks that, oh, never mind, I was about to say, it sucks that Bermuda went to the West Indies Confederation, who are our allies, because then we can't take it and build it up into a formidable naval base. But luckily someone else stole it, so now we can steal it back. And possibly keep it. There was someone that people wanted me to make a leader of, like, the Marine Corps, which I don't remember who it was. It might have been in the PSA, or sorry, the AUS playthrough, though. I might be conflating the two. It's a 2nd Marine Corps. Not gonna grab any of those yet. I believe this guy was a Marine, right? Officer Candidate School of the Marine Corps. Navy Cross. Yeah, this guy's a Marine. I believe he actually was part of the legation in the city's Marines. Alright, we're going to invade Bermuda from... Doesn't really matter where. We have to travel an equal amount of sea zones anyways. There you go. Plan is set. Make the super heavy batteries, because we're going to start constructing our first dreadnoughts in not too long. Actually, let's separate these guys out and do that. We've split the army in two, because we don't need more than 9 in order to take stuff like Denmark and Iceland. And then the other one here, this will be the 5th army. How the fuck do you spell Caribbean? 1R. So the Caribbean army and they will be used in the invasion of Cuba. In fact, we probably should use John Tisa for that, I forgot. We'll swap him over once he's done in Mexico. In fact, we'll swap him over now, because he's not actually fighting, he's just holding the line. So let's put someone else on these guys. Let's do... let's give Oliver Law some experience here. And let's put John Tisa on that one. And Oliver Law. Let's just set up a front line and activate. USA Trilogy by John Dos Passos. Film montage, a modernist writing and the socialist spirit comes together in John Dos Passos' new book, USA. The story itself is an examination of 12 Americans that lived through the Depression and Revolution. Passos' writing combines snippets of newspapers, propaganda, and the conversations he recalls on the streets during the terrifying months of before the liberation. Such an unorthodox and creative writing is usually praised by the Americans Writers' Congress, but they have remained silent. This is due to the book's depiction of extra-legal killings that took place throughout America during the Civil War by our soldiers. To the nominal leader of the Writers' Congress, Ernest Hemingway, this book amounted to treason and sedition against the socialist government. However, his decision to censor the book and detain Dos Passos was overruled by the Congress. Yeah, we have to calm Hemingway down. How can we strive to be the best society that we would like to be if we cannot acknowledge our own faults? And how can we judge others if we can't acknowledge our own faults? How can we say the reactionaries are wrong if we cannot also acknowledge when we are wrong? Let's have a look at some manpower here. Oh, it's not looking good. So Valois has instituted service by requirement. A bit... Yeah, so he's doing much better than the Germans, who are trying so hard to push into France, but failing. In fact, they're so aggressive, which is why they're losing all this manpower. That being said, the Germans are not the only ones fighting. Sweden, of course, under apparently Helge Jung. Okay. And the Russians are still fighting, all adults serve there as well. Wait, no, the Russians are fighting the Germans, of course. That's probably why they're doing so poorly and why they're pushing for so aggressively for a quick victory. They've got the Hungarians, the Austrians, oh god, the Czech, two Sicilies. Generally, the manpower situation in Europe is not doing too well. Oh, hell yeah, dude. Take to the waves. Oh, 730 days. We'll wait until we've got more of the dockyard set up. On the beach. I love the song. The Advanced Fast Battleship Hull A1. This one will be, I think, the Hemingway class. Someone suggested this in the comments. So yeah, this will be the Hemingway class. It's a BB. It'll use heavy batteries because we want it to be reasonably fast. It's going to have to keep up with some of our carriers, which I believe they go like 25 knots, I think. The Reed class. Let me check. 26 knots. Okay, so we need to keep them at or above 26 knots. Everything here is automatically set to the highest tier, which is very, very helpful. Makes it much easier for me to make this this tier here for only 5 experience, which means we can create more tiers as well. So the Hemingway class, please tell me I spelled Hemingway's name right, and it's not 2 M's. There we go, we'll just keep making that ad infinitum. And let's see. Approved carrier, yeah, we haven't made the light carriers yet. We need to wait until we get the advanced Dreadnought hull before we start making the next one. And also, yeah, the Bobbit mentioned Bobbit, who is Canadian. Oh, actually, now Bobbit, they have a leader. Wait, no, he is a generic leader. Undistinguished suit, it says, which means generic usually. Leonard Ross. And he's got... Yeah, but the flag for the socialist Canadians is not very good. The Quebecois flag does not look too bad, in my opinion. Then again, I don't know... well, for Socialist Quebec, maybe not all that appropriate with the fleur-de-lis, which is, you know, royalist French connotations and all that. Actually, let's send this one over to the Gulf Army. Persia is invading Afghanistan. Argonauts, I think we've seen that one before. Jason and the Argonauts, of course. Have we even begun mining anything? Cruisers are still exercising, so the submarines here, the cruisers here need to be exercising as well, and these guys are fully exercised and they can commit or conduct operations now. Who's oh yeah, we're using the Russian bases, are we, or what? We've got bases at least over here. No, we aren't, because then we would be able to reach that. Whose bases are we using? Do we have just incredibly... Oh, we've got Atu Island, okay. In which case, you have a new base, and you're going to be raiding commerce, I think. We really don't have a lot of enemies here to raid. None that we can reach, at least. The cruisers will be able to raid Hawaii. These guys, I think, will... yeah, they're not being terribly useful right now. Maybe we could actually... No, let's send them back. And have them raid down here. Just in case any supplies are flowing through the Panama Canal. These guys don't need to exercise anymore, they are submarine mine layers. Union vacations. With the revolution, one of the changes that has come is the transformation in terms of vacations. The workers of America rarely got to enjoy all the luxuries that were created and the progressives would say belonged to the people. How many of the struggling masses got to enjoy picnics or visiting the national parks when they had to work so many hours, or as many hours, just to survive and feed their children? No longer will this be the case. The various local unions across the country, regardless of which federation they belong to, have begun to take over and manage various cultural centers as well as help sponsor vacations. This is supported by the government at both a local level and a national level as a way to boost productivity and encourage comradeship. Okay, these guys, we're going to set them up on mine laying on the east coast here, just to try to secure that. They're meant to be on the east coast anyways. We'll start with these zones here. In fact, this one is the most risky one right now, so I'm gonna only lay mines in that one, because it's going to increase our naval superiority in this region, so it's going to generally make future mine laying operations there more fruitful. We probably don't need any mines on the east coast, or west coast I mean, at the moment. The idea of an invasion from the west is just so... I don't know, it just seems very, very, very unlikely to me. So we'll have them all focus on laying mines over here. Okay, well, let's see. Just so that we have... Oh, just so that we do something this episode. Like, we don't have our heavy hitters yet, so we can't really... we can't really support a naval invasion with big guns, like shore bombardment and stuff. Sadly. However, I think we should start the naval invasion of Havana, because it does seem like it's completely unguarded. That might be wrong, though. Oh, we need to raid and bomb the Gulf of Mexico, because they're continuously trying to to ship troops over there. There we go, and this guy, submarine squadron, normal submarine squadron. Convoy raiding, and you'll be raiding, I think, over here. The Iberian coast, always a good zone to raid. And these guys, they're in San Francisco right now, they need to be on the east coast, because these guys are east coast and these guys are west coast. And they will be convoy raiding. I think I want to raid both the Norwegian Sea and the North Sea, but I don't think that's going to be very... that's not going to be efficient right now, because we don't have as many squadrons as we'd need. I'll have them raid the African coast. And these guys can stop exercising and can start helping out by patching up any zones that aren't being raided because they're repairing or something like that. Okay, let's start the invasion of Havana. Oh, they've got troops there that we didn't see. So I was wrong, they had troops. Let's set up some close air support and stuff. We do have air superiority, so that shouldn't be a problem. Oh, they're moving troops in as well. Like, even more troops. We might not be able to take Havana. We might have to do a naval invasion elsewhere. I thought they had moved all their troops off, but apparently I was wrong. Might have to start the invasion in Guantanamo Bay or something. Because yeah, you can see, this isn't going well. And they also have a carrier fleet here. The German East Asia Task Force is here. Which is probably providing naval bombardments against us. Yes, it is. We don't really have anything to contest that. So that's a problem. The idea is, like, the capital ships in naval warfare, they ensure superiority, and then the smaller ships exercise it. So we only have the ships that will exercise superiority, like the ships that will actually utilize superiority, and none of them that will actually win it for us. And that's going to take a while until we get those built. So, you know what I'm gonna do? Abort this. And start this. So you send a patrol fleet. And a patrol fleet. Convoy escort, you can hold, or you can stop. And we are way over time, 35 minutes and counting. So I'm going to do some quick casualties, just because the war's been going for a while and we want to see how that's going. Oh my god. The Second Weltkrieg. We have taken 40,000 losses so far. The German Empire has taken 8.48 million losses. The AOG, 1.18 million losses. Germany, East Asia, 400,000. We've got Denmark, 124,000. Kingdom of Finland, 95,000, almost capitulated. Sweden, 147,000. The Donau Adriabund, collectively 3.35 million, the most of that being shouldered by the Austrians and the Hungarians. And French Republic, 784,000. Meanwhile, Comune of France has taken 2.64 million, not a whole lot. Union of Britain, 1.46 million, compared to the Germans, of course, I'm saying. That is a lot of casualties. And the Russians, 2.56 million, but that's nothing compared to their total manpower. Okay, we've taken Bermuda at least, so one thing was taken. We're going to set up a garrison on Bermuda just so it doesn't get recaptured. And then we'll use that as another sort of stepping stone for reaching... Oh, motherfucker, it's not ours. For reaching... it's only Naval Base 1, yeah. Oh well, for reaching Europe. But yeah, that's about it. Thank you so much for watching. You can find any relevant information that you might need in the description down below. Like my Discord, like my Twitch, like my Patreon, and like my Twitter. So again, thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time in the next video, and hopefully that one will not be as long. Goodbye.